addresses the issue and a couple of goings on. These apologies should have started earlier than now. Kind of mobility and all these different things. You know, for us, we are not social services like people. Not for us, we are taking murderers, according to some circles. But anyway, nonetheless, thank you for coming. And we start. They just ask us to do a quick prayer and then we see how we start. Let me request, these are brothers and sisters, Muslim brothers and sisters are in the month of Ramadan. I request our Hajj, Usman Basaliba, the man of tours to lead us in the opening prayer. You can stand.
Let's all humble ourselves for one prayer. Almighty God, we thank you for the gift of life. We thank you for the abundant favors and blessings you have bestowed upon us. God, whatever we are doing is for the good of this country. It is not for our own benefit. We don't seek personal gain from the struggle, but we seek to liberate the country. As we address today's press conference and the matters that we are going to talk about, give us wisdom and guidance throughout. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Honorable Usman. Detention. He is one of our leaders, the leader of the People Power Youth Wing. Honzaake is the leader of the People Power Youth Wing, and what's happening to him is very concerning to us, and that's why we, as his colleague leaders, decided to address you good people on this subject matter, to air out our concerns and also what we think should be happening, because there's lots of illegalities that are happening, there's lots of concerning circumstances surrounding Honorable Zake's illegal detention. So I'm going to request our team leader, the Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, to come and give a statement about this matter, then see how we keep moving. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's press conference. On Saturday, 19th April 2020, Honorable Francis Zake, the Member of Parliament from Mutiana Municipality, and also the head of the People Power Youth Wing, was brutally arrested from his home in Mutiana by security operatives, both in uniform and plain clothes. His crime apparently was giving food to disturbing constituents in Mutiana municipality. He was taken to Mutiana police station, later taken to CMI, and finally detained at SIU in Chirika. Honorable Zake has asserted that he was brutally tortured at each of those detention facilities. His eyes were sprayed by a substance that has left him unable to see for the past days. It was one Honorable Mwiru who was allowed to visit him at SIU in Chireka, who insisted that he must be taken to hospital because he was in a very worrying state. He was eventually taken to the Uganda hospital in Naguru, but still under detention, since the hospital is under siege and visitors are not allowed to see him. I personally attempted to visit nursing, but all her phones were taken away from her, since the security operative suspect that she could take pictures of him in the state that he is, which will expose the proof of torture. Honorable Zake continues to be detained illegally 8 days after his arrest and brutal treatment at the hands of those who are supposed to be protecting his life. We insist that Honorable Zake committed no offense. We therefore demand his unconditional release so that he can access the proper health care facility of his choice without any control or restriction or any interference by the security operatives. We also demand that the government takes action against the NRM leaders who have, in a manner so wanton, broken the regulations against the social distancing rules in their quest to give out food to the people. Honorable Haruna Kasolo of Chotera County, the State Minister and the State Minister for Microfinance recently had a very huge crowd at his home while he was giving out food. The same happened when Honorable Hanifa Kawoya in Zimbabwe was giving out food at her home. And yes, we saw the same with the Honorable Ssenyonyi, the State Minister for Primary Education. It is unbecoming for the state to persecute the Honorable Zake, who followed the guidelines. Yet nothing has been said about the NRM leaders who are in blatant violation of the guidelines. So we assert that no one should be above reproach, and we also demand that persecution against particularly the opposition leaders should stop, and the state should stop using the COVID-19 pandemic to crack down on dissent. We thank you, and we hope the entire country is standing with the Honorable Zake and Ugandans that are being persecuted in this dangerous time. We thank you. So in Uganda mulidde abasebo ne banyabo tubaniriza leero era twagadde okwogera ku nsonga eno enkulu ennyo. Olunaku lw'Essande nga 19 omwezi ogwokuna omwaka 2020, Oweekitiibwa Honorable Francis Zake owa Mityana Municipality yakwatibwa mu maka ge Mityana, n'atwalibwa ku poliisi e Mityana, gye bamujja ne bamutwala ku kitebe kya CMI, gye yava ne bamwongerayo ku kitebe kya SIU oba Special Investigations Unit ekireka. Honorable Zake akikakatiriza nti yatulugunyizibwa nnyo ng'ali mu bifo ebyo byonna ebisatu yasibibwa. Bamufuira ebintu mu maaso ebyamuleka nga talaba paka olunaku lwa leero tasobola yadde okugulawo amaaso ge. Yali Honorable Mwiru mubaka munnaffe eyali amukyalidde gye bamusibira ekireka, eyalemerako nti Honorable Zake alina okutwalibwa mu ddwaliro, era bamaliriza bamututte mu ddwaliro ya Uganda Iran Hospital e Naggulu. Naye ate nga neyo gyali akyali mu bukwate. Abantu bonna baganiddwa okumulaba. Nange kamakoogera ngezezaako emirundi 2 okukyalira Honorable Zake, naye ne bannemesa okumukyalira. Mukyala we ye bamukkiriza agende amujjanjabe, naye bamuggyako amasimu ge gonna, era tulowooza nti batya nti mukyala we ayinza omukuba ekifaananyi ne kyoleka engeri gye bamutulugunyizza. Honorable Zake agenda maaso n'okusibibwa mu ngeri emenya amateeka. Yatulugunyiziddwa era agenda maaso n'okutulugunyizibwa abantu abo abalina okumukuuma. Twongera okikakatiriza nti Honorable Zake talina musango n'ogumu gwe yakoze ki, gwe yazizza, era tulemerako nti balina omuta agende afune eddwaliro oba obujjanjabi mu ddwaliro ly'ayagala nga talina kutangibwa kwonna abo abalina okutukuuma oba okukuuma obulamu bwe. Era tusaba gavumenti, tugikoowoola ebeeko kyekola kwabo abakulembeze naddala aba NRM abagenze mu maaso okumenya ebiragiro by'abasawo ebya Ministry of Health n'ebya gavumenti eby'okuteekawo distance obutalinanagana, bo tebabifuddeko nga bagaba emmere. Fena twalabye Honorable Kasolo ow'Ekyotera ng'akuŋŋaanyiza olw'ebeeya lw'abantu mu luggya lwe nga bagabira emmere. Kyekintu kyekimu ekyakoleddwa Honorable Hanifa Kawoya ow'Essembabule ne Honorable Ssenyonyi omubaka omukyala owa Kiso naye yakoze ekintu kyekimu. Ekyennaku nti abo bonna tebalina kye bagambiddwako oba kye bakoleddwako, naye ate Honorable Zake eyagoberedde amateeka ye n'atulugunyizibwa. Twongera n'okutegeeza gavumenti ekya buswavu okulaba nga banyigiriza abantu abagondera amateeka ate ne bawaana oba ne bakuuma abo abatagondera amateeka. Ne twongera okusaba gavumenti erekeraawo okulondoola abo naddala bali mu opposition erekeraawo okozesa ekizibu kino ekya covid-19 okutulugunya n'okubuzaako bannayuganda eddembe. Tubeebaza nnyo, tubeebaliza ddala, era tujja kumaliriza nga twagaliza baganda baffe bonna bonna abasiraamu ekisiibo ekirungi omwezi guno ogwa Ramadani wabeere gwa mukisa era Allah abawe byonna bimusinga okwagala. And I'll say that in English. I want to, on behalf of the People Power Movement, wish all our Muslim brothers a successful and fruitful month of Ramadan. Thank you very much, and may God bless you.
Thank you, Honorable Chagulanyi Sentamu Robert, the principal of the People Power Movement. So as he has clearly adumbrated, we are concerned about Honorable Zake's situation, but also especially because access to him is limited. Phones are not allowed because they are afraid of the state in which he is. People will get to see how the state has brutalized him. Nonetheless, there's been people who have succeeded in seeing him. His wife, of course, and one of his colleague MPs and lawyer, who after some negotiations and pushing and shoving was allowed access to Honorable Zake, and so he was able to see firsthand the state in which he is, even though he was not able to get any photographic evidence to show the rest of us, but he will share with us an account of the current situation. So let me invite Honorable Paul William.
Thank you, my brother, Ssenyonyi. As you are all aware, Paul Mwiri is my name. I happen to have had an opportunity to visit Honorable Zake on the 20th of April 2020 at SIU Chireka, where he had been incarcerated and they had denied access to him by any person unless you had the permission of the director Saidi. I persisted, and actually upon Zake being produced in the office of the commandant SIU, actually he was very frail and in very devastating health conditions. We had an engagement with the office of the IGP. He was actually referred to Iran Ugandan hospital in Naguru, but I think to cut the whole story short, before me now I have a referral report by the hospital to the effect that Honorable Zake has failed to respond to the treatment which has been put on, and they are referring him to Nsambya Hospital. But they describe the state in which they received him, where they say that he was received in severe pain since Sunday the 19th of April 2020 after being arrested at home. Reports show that he was handcuffed, tied with the ropes, both on the hands and the legs. He has bruises in the face, in the chest, and actually he feels a lot of pain. But the most important now, why he's being given the fact that actually after being ill, they said that the diagnosis, blunt force trauma and chemical conjunctivity, those sort of chemicals in his face, to the extent that he can no longer, he lost his sight, he cannot see. So they believe that they don't have those specialized services at the Iran Uganda hospital, and they need to see an ophthalmologist to review his condition and establish why he has failed to regain his sight. So I thought it's important, and that is a report which has been issued by the Iran Uganda hospital referring Honorable Zake to Nsambya hospital because they have failed to the treatment they have been giving him. He has not actually responded to it. So I thought it's important that we brief the country about the state of Honorable Zake after being tortured. The final state is that actually all the three doctors who examined him agreed that he was tortured. That is the police doctor, the Iran doctor, and Dr. Sechtoreko, Honorable Zake's doctor. Thank you so much.
In Uganda.
Mwebale nnyo banyabo ne bassebo ng'ennaku z'omwezi abiri omwezi guno omwaka guno nafuna omukisa n'entegeezebwa muzeeyi wa Zaake nti bamuleese SIU Kireka nga bwensula mu kisulu kyekimu n'ennyangwa mangu okutuukawo. Baso ne baŋŋaana okumulaba nga baŋŋamba Dr. wa Saidi omukyala Grace Akuro agambye nti oyo musibeewe buli ajja okumulaba alina kufuna lukusa kuva ku ye. Ne mugamba nti ekiri mu mateeka ne system ne baŋŋaana njagala ndagala bakintere mu buwandiike. Ne baŋŋaana ne bansabamu essaawa 2 bakonsalutinge bamala ne banzikiza ne mulaba. Bamuleetera mu mmotoka nga bamukubye tasobola kutambula. ne bamunsuulira mu ofiisi ya commandant w'essaayo namulaba nga yenna baamuggyeemu ennyama mu kifuba mu feesi yonna yavuddeko ennyama baamukubye yenna azimbye obuna obukongovule gyonna enkokola ng'ali mu mbeera mbi nnyo era ne mbasaba ne ŋŋamba atwala essaayo ekirala nti omuntu gemukubye ng'ali mu mbeera eno takyasobola kubeera mu kkomera lyetaaga ddwaliro nolwe ne tulaba ofiisi ya igp ne bayita Dr. Byarugaba atwala ebyabalwadde mu ebyobusawo mu poliisi nakkiriza nti omudde tumuggyeyo tumuleete ku Iran Uganda hospital eddwaliro lya poliisi era n'olwaleero bamujjanjabyeko ne bategeeza nti bibalemye wabatuwandikidde lipooti egamba newakubadde bagezaako okujjanjaba Honzaake yaleetebwa nga akubiddwa nga ali ku mpingu nga yasibiddwa emiguwa emikono n'amagulu abalemye kuba n'amaaso talaba tanadda kusobola kulaba nga balowooza nti waliwo abakugu abali ensambya nga bwe bawulira nti tuba tumutwala kati batuwadde ebbaluwa eno emwongerayo mu ddwaliro eddala nti mu nkuba gye baamukubamu bowadde abasawo ba poliisi tabasobola kumujjanjaba kusobola kolaki kuddamu kuwona kubeera mu mbeera esobola kuba nga asobola okutwalibwa mu kooti so n'olwekyo leero nvuddeyo ku makya ga leero essaawa zibadde nga ssaawa 3:30 batuwa ebbaluwa eno nti baabalemye tumwongereyo so yembeera gyadde okutegeeza abannayuganda nti Honzaake yakubiddwa ate nga yakwatibwa ng'ali ku mpingu ne balusiba emikono n'ebigere naye era baasobola okufuna obudde obumukuba okumutusa mu mbeera gy'alimu olwaleero mwebala nnyo mwebala.
Thank you, Honorable. So, of course, as people power, we shall not look on as our colleague gets treated this way. And that's why we are continuously pushing and advocating for his release. And we'd like to appreciate Ugandans out there who have continuously advocated that justice be served. They've continuously pushed on social media and using other channels to say that Honorable Honzaake should be released, should be able to get medication, and that they have exposed the brutality of the state. We appreciate you for all that you have done in this quest. But we are not going to stop at advocacy. This is an illegality that a citizen, a member of parliament, gets to be arrested, gets to be brutalized. It has happened before. It happened in Arua. Honorable Kyagulanyi, Honorable Honzaake, Honorable Muwonge, and a couple of others who were arrested and tortured to near death. But our government has learned nothing, and here we are again. And somehow there's got to be a stoppage to this. And so while we are advocating, we want to engage a couple of other gears too, and that's on the legal front. So let me invite Honorable Asuman Basariwa, one of our lawyers, to shed some light on how we are progressing on the legal front.
Thank you very much. Our team leader, our deputy team leader, our spokesperson, honorable colleagues.
Yes.
There are three things that I would just like to supplement on the submissions of my colleagues. Number one, that as we are struggling to secure the health of the Honorable Francis Honzaake, we are also concerned about his legal rights. To this regard, we have moved to secure his unconditional release. And as we speak now, there is an application that has been filed before Nakawa Court. Honorable Mwiru is one of the people who is swearing an affidavit, because according to the Police Act, if anybody is detained more than 48 hours, you can apply to a magistrate to have them released unconditionally. And the Honorable Francis Honzaake has actually been in detention beyond the 48 hours. So we are moving under the law to have him released unconditionally. Number two, we are also taking note, because Honorable Francis Honzaake is speaking with difficulty, is having some challenges. When he fully recovers, we want to interact with him and try to understand whether he's in position to identify those who tortured him, so that we move on them individually. This idea of continuing to torture people and you think we'll go away with it is something we are not going to tolerate. Finally, on the issue of distribution of food, I want to emphasize, and I did mention this in Parliament, there is no law in Uganda that stops anybody from distributing food. It is not there. people are confusing presidential directives to be law. I did challenge the Attorney General the other day in Parliament to show us under the statutory instrument whether there is a provision saying you don't distribute food. So until that aspect is included in the statutory instrument, you commit no offense if you decide to distribute food per se. So we also want to call upon government to really understand that it's not enough for people to make pronouncements in State House or elsewhere, but those pronouncements must be translated into law, and that is when you can hold people accountable. I thank you.
Uganda version.
Basebo ne banyabo twagala kubategeeza nti weewaawo saawa zino amaanyi tugatadde ku kulaba nga obulamu bwa Zaake butereera, naye ate ne ku saidi y'amateeka nakyo tetukisuuliridde. Wenjogerera twasazeewo ogenda mu kooti okwekubira enduulu mu kooti nga tusaba kooti Honorable Zaake emute awatali kakwakulizo. Ssemateeka yaffe ne etteeka erifuga poliisi ligamba nti omuntu bw'amala mu poliisi ennaku essaawa 48 oyinza ogenda mu kooti n'osaba kooti emuyimbule awatali kakwakulizo. Ekyo kye tukoze olwaleero mu kooti e Nakawa, era omu ku Honorable Mwiru alayidde okulaba nti ensonga eyo eggwa olwaleero. Ekyokubiri, tulinze Honorable Zaake atereere kuba embeera ye tewa maanyi y'omu ku abo nanga abamulabako nali ne Honorable Mwiru. Twagala bw'aba ateredde tumubuuze oba asobola okutulagirira abamu ku abo abamutulugunya tugezeeko nabo okubawawabira ng'abantu. Palamenti yatwala obuvunaanyizibwa n'eyita etteeka lye bayita Anti-Torture Act erigaana omuntu yenna okutulugunyizibwa. So abo bakinoomu baana abatugambye tujja kutwala obuvunaanyizibwa nabo tulabe nti tubakolako ng'abantu gavumenti bwebanga tanaba kukikolako. Okusembayo, Bannayuganda bateekwa okumanya nti Mwami Museveni ebigambo by'ayogera tegaba mateeka. Bwe twogerera kati bafulumizza amateeka ag'enjawulo mu mbeera eno gye tulimu eya coronavirus, naye akawaayiro akagamba nti teri muntu yenna ateekeddwa kugaba mmere tekaliimu. Nze mwennyini kamwa koogera nayimirira mu Paalamenti ne wiiki eno ewedde nayimirira mu Paalamenti nga mbuuza eggwanga balifugira ku tteeka ki? Mwe babagamba social distancing mwakirabako mu tteeka yonna. Boogera ku kafiyu ne boogera ku birala, naye ekintu nga obutagaba mmere tekiriimu. So twagala tegeeza gavumenti nti babaagala eggwanga lifugiwe kyonna kye boogerako bakiteeke mu mateeka, bakiteeke mu bujjudde. Kyova olaba nga wadde abantu bangi bakwatiddwa tenabeerayo omuntu yenna avunaaniddwa tempted murder nga Mwami Museveni bw'agamba, kuba abo abakwasaganya amateeka bakimanyi nti ogwo omusango teguliiyo. Era kyova olaba nga teri akwatiddwa bwe bamuvunaanibwa mu regulations zino eza COVID. Era bw'okwatibwa ate bakuvunaana mu Penal Code Act ogezaako okusaasaanya obulwadde, naye ate eyo si attempted murder. So twadde twagala n'ekyo tukinyonnyola abantu bakitegeere. Mwebale nnyo, mwebale nnyo.
Okay, thank you. Let me just invite in a minute our deputy team leader, the deputy principal of the People Power Movement, who's been involved for a long time in human rights activism and all the different things which are tethered to this subject matter.
Fellow Ugandans, ladies and gentlemen, as a mother, my heart is bleeding. The situation in which human beings have been degenerated, the hunger, the desperation, young men traveling on foot to West Nile. 6 of them. People gathered, they eat raw mangoes with salt for lunch and for supper. Raw maize. It has taken the face of women and young girls. Trailer drivers, at every stage, sleeping, defiling, raping very desperate young women because of the desperation of the way we have handled the COVID-19 response, which has totally excluded the face of human. And I'm very sorry. We totally condemn the brutality on Honorable Zake simply because he wanted to be a pencil in the hands of God that he believed in, to give food, to redeem the people from their desperation, at least for that 1 minute. In the strongest terms, I want to add my voice to my principal and my colleagues, honorable members of parliament, and also my land friends. And I call on all Ugandans, we must reclaim our humanity and dignity in whatever situation we find ourselves. Whether it is COVID response or what, but there must be humanity and human dignity at the center of all response. And consultations must be done, because we say nothing about us without us. Whether it is COVID response or what, Zake must be released and humanity and dignity must be stored. Avoid.
Look back. Look back.
Do you know what to interpret in the
Ma papi. Androma at Sandisi. Rezo. Kini. Azoto di imupi. Would rikurusi. Anilo Uganda se aduleko. Would rikurusi wara wadisi. Amavile. Atamba. Honorable Zakeni ba bionzi. Omberi madriti. Omberi mapati. Bagbi milenia aronziri. O sweri afonzi on disi. Peresadisi. Eri arojo. Ama atandisi saro. Ama obi na okosi. Okosi. Ba da betoni. Yeda lato oto betoni yeda leko. Ani andro memuki tu alodwa. Ba ambo mavu di pie. Bata mavu lidaro di pie woro woro. Yezu afa ni eri afonzi. To. Le yo woro si ba du bada me edri bada madriwala baola mabile zwanzi sidia pakwati asi aruasi elegwasi kobokwasi vorasi kare Kampala dwe ani okonya ramara le ba tro zakeni mamu aruesu diga makita Uganda di woro ametikiti tualo afadile de ale urima ayo anzeki yo ndiri munduti sibani yo kini speaking truth to power la manzeki yo ada opo azikona mavleti awadi fosaro apo emate awadi